Hey guys, before I start the podcast, a quick introduction. My name is Warnit and I'm the founder of Pet Excel Marketing. Pet Excel Marketing is a marketing agency that specifically works with pet businesses. Over the years, we have worked with pet food brand, pet relocation businesses, pet SaaS companies, pet clothing brand, cat food businesses, dog grooming services, and many other product and service-based pet businesses globally. Our services includes everything from creating graphics to running your ad campaign. Not only that, we have built amazing websites and apps for pet businesses. So if you have a pet business and would like us to help grow it, click on the first link in the description to book a call with our team. Now enjoy the podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to Pet Brand Podcast. I'm your host Warneth, and this is the show where we dive deep into the world of pet brands, uncovering the stories, strategies, and innovation that make them successful. Uh, Today we have an incredible guest, Kate, the founder of the Saltiest Dog. If you're a pet parent who believes in feeding fresh, high quality meals to your dog, you probably come across this amazing brand known for its preservative-free, human-grade raw meals and ethically sourced treats. The Saltiest Dog has built a loyal following and earned over 1,000 five-star reviews from happy customers. Whether you are a pet brand founder, an entrepreneur in the pet industry, or a pet lover looking to learn more about raw feeding, this conversation is packed with valuable insight. So let's dive right in. Kate, thank you so much for being on this podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Great, love it, love it, love it. So yeah, let's start from the beginning. Like every great brand has a story behind it, right? So like before
Mm.
we dive into the details, like let's start with a basic question, big question. What inspired you to start the Saltiest Dog?
I think, like most pet brands, it's a dog. I think most pet brands are inspired to start their own
Yep,
pet
yep.
business because of a special pet.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no different for me. It was my dog, Lulu.
Uh-huh.
Um, he unfortunately died in April last year, but she was definitely my soul dog and the inspiration behind starting my business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what about the name? Like it's such as the unique name you have. Like can you share?
Yeah, it is a unique name for a unique reason.
Uh-huh.
I collect vintage salt containers.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, the salty dog was taken, as in the salty dog. So I went one better and went the saltiest. So
Uh-huh.
that's how the name came up. I have a vast collection of vintage salt containers and vintage dog statues. So kind of an
Wow.
obsession of mine. I'm a collector.
Uh-huh.
So I thought, why not come up with a unique name that nobody else is going to have for that reason?
Makes sense. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
again, like starting any businesses comes up with like its own set of challenges, and the pet industry is no exception. So like looking back at the early days of the Saltiest Dog, like what was the biggest challenge you faced when launching your brand?
Well, the saltiest dog actually started in Alice Springs. I used to live in Alice Springs, which I don't know if you know where that is, but it's a very small
Hmm.
town right in the middle of Australia.
Wow.
Uh, and we've since moved to Melbourne. But I guess the biggest challenge for me in Alice Springs was the remote nature of where we were. So it was getting products to Alice Springs.
Wow.
And things have changed vastly for how my business was then to how it is now.
Mm.
But yeah, I guess the challenge is always just getting good products and yeah, keeping the quality high.
Yeah, yeah. So earlier, were you like used to just provide, like was it like more locally based, or like now it's more like, it's all over Australia?
Yeah, I mean, when I started this business, I was just a little dog treats at the local market kind of business,
Yeah, yeah.
and now it's a lot different. Now
Mm.
we're a food manufacturer, so it's vastly different, and the challenges are vastly different. Like I would have said back when I started, my biggest challenge was adding all my products to Shopify.
Yeah.
Um, but now it's sort of how do I get my products all around Australia?
Uh-huh.
So the scale has definitely changed.
Uh-huh. And how much time it took you from that to this place?
So it's been in total about 5 or 6 years, but I
Mhm.
was I stopped for a year and had babies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I restarted the business in Melbourne
Yeah.
in about halfway through 2020. So what are we now?
Oh,
2025. So
yeah.
yeah, coming into 5 years. So it takes
Hmm.
a long time, and I think it
Crazy.
takes
Yeah.
a lot longer than people think it will take. Like
Definitely. Yeah.
you can't just snap your fingers and have a customer base. It takes time to build that.
Crazy, crazy. Definitely, definitely. And also like the pet food market is like highly competitive, right? So like with
Yeah.
new brands emerging every single day, so like with
Mhm.
so many options available for the pet parent, like how did you differentiate the Saltiest Dog from other fresh feeding brand?
I think I've just always been really authentic and transparent and honest.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've never really been like I don't like the term being professional. Like I think there are times that you need to be professional, but I've always just approached it just being myself and being authentic. And I'm a pet parent. So, I had my dog Lulu. So I can automatically relate to all the other people with their cell
Yeah,
dogs
yeah, yeah, yeah.
just want the best for their dog. So I've
Mhm.
I've always just been me. I've been
Yeah.
honest. I've been authentic, and yeah, I guess people have been able to relate to that because they're a pet parent like me, and they want to feed
Mm-hmm.
their dog the best food, and they want their dog to live the longest life
Yeah.
and be the happiest that they can be. So
Mm-hmm.
I always used to just think like my customers are me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I treat them that way, the way I'd like to be treated, and speak to them that way, be honest. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, definitely. And like the quality of pet food start with the quality of the ingredient that you're using. So like, can you
Mm.
walk us through the process of like sourcing ingredients for your products and like how do you select what goes into like each meal?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm a vet nurse, so I do
Wow.
have a background
Mm-hmm.
in pet care,
Mm-hmm.
but I've also worked with different nutritionists in formulating the recipes.
Wow.
But yeah, we use ingredients that are human grade. Our fish and our salmon or sardines or whatever are bought from a shop that you or I could walk into and buy fish for us to eat. So I've always just kept that level. Like if it's not good enough for me to eat, we're not sourcing meat from knackeries of cows that have been dead in the paddock for 5 days and then are pumped full of preservatives to make it look edible.
Mm-hmm.
We're not adding palatants to food so that dogs will actually recognize it as food.
Mm-hmm.
We don't use any cheap fillers. We're just
Wow.
using
Mm-hmm.
real ingredients, actual food, things that
Mm-hmm.
dog needs, nothing that they don't, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Really simple. It's actually really simple. It's just real food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also like not all the pet owners are familiar with raw feeding or like
Mm,
understand its benefit. So how
yeah.
do you educate pet parents like about fresh feeding is definitely a healthier choice for their dogs.
I just try to keep it simple and stick to the facts. And I guess the biggest barrier is I think people get a bit scared with raw feeding. Like it seems really scary because there's all these kind of scary myths floating around that your
Mm.
dog's going to get sick and it's going to do all these things. And
Yeah.
I just try to present the information to people like I try to relate it to humans. Like we know that processed food is not the best thing for
Yeah.
us. Like,
Mm.
yeah, we eat it, but we
Mm.
know that what's best for us is fresh,
Yeah.
unprocessed food.
Yeah.
Why would it be any different for a dog?
Mm. Mm.
I think I did a post the other day, like imagine if there was a kibble for humans and we called it human food and that's all we ate.
Yeah.
It's great if you really think about it, it's crazy that
Yeah.
we feed dogs a biscuit and
Mm.
say that's all they need. It's crazy. So I think
Mm.
I just try to present that information to people and
Mm.
let them decide. And I think you see the light bulb moment sometimes when people are like, why the heck are we feeding dogs kibble? Like it doesn't, I mean, it started as a convenience food, and I
Yeah.
think that's what it should be, a
Yeah.
convenience food, not an all the time food. The same that
Uh-huh.
convenience foods are a sometimes thing for us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's the years of marketing that they
Yeah,
have done, these brands have done that it's like kind of like brainwash pet parents into thinking, okay, this is the only option that they have.
exactly. It's called dog food. And when you say dog food, people think of kibble. And that's just from years and years of marketing. And
Yeah.
they've done a really great job at that because when people think of dog food, they think they
Yeah.
buy a bag of kibble from the supermarket.
And
So
then
that's
yeah.
what I'm trying to do is that's not dog food. That's not it.
Mm-hmm. Also
Yeah.
the newer generation, the millennials and Gen Z, right? So I think they
Hmm.
are more aware of like what they are feeding their dog. They are more
Yeah.
aware like what's the ingredient on it. And it's like way easier to help them understand like what's going on and like
Yeah.
why we should give like this specific diet to their dog.
Yeah, I think people question things more.
Hmm.
And many people are questioning, or why do we feed dogs that? Or what is in that? So yeah, the younger generation that dogs are their kids, A
Yeah.
lot of people are having pets instead of kids,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
they're mindful of looking after
Uh-huh.
um
Uh-huh.
their kids and what they feed them.
Yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah.
think it's a really great shift, and it's taken a long time. But
Yeah.
30 years ago, the dog was just in the backyard in
Yeah,
their
yeah, yeah.
kennel. You'd
Also,
throw them
the
some.
terminology has changed, right? Like
Oh
30
yeah,
years back, it was like pet owner. Now it's like
yeah,
pet parent.
pet
Like,
parent. Yeah, no one wants to say owner anymore. We don't
no,
own them.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
our children. Yeah,
yeah. Owner
yeah.
sounds weird. Like, owner sounds like you have like a slave. I'm the owner of this person.
Exactly. Like I own this animal. It is mine. Like it's property. It's
Yeah,
weird. Yeah,
sounds
pet
weird.
parent is much nicer.
Yeah, sounds weird. Yeah, yeah. Talking about the most important aspect of business, the customer, right? The
Mm,
customer trust is everything, especially in the pet food industry. The Saltiest Dog has over 1,000 five-star reviews. So
yeah.
which is definitely incredible. Like, what step did you take to build such a strong reputation? And what do you think like other pet brand out there can replicate that success?
Again, I just think it comes back to just being honest and transparent and authentic.
Mm-hmm.
People can see through things, like I was saying, people ask more questions now. They can see through when brands aren't being honest. So I've just always been honest and transparent, and I think the reviews come from, the products speak for themselves. You can tell people a lot of things about your products, but once they've actually tried them, or their dog's been eating the meals for a long time and they're literally seeing their dog thrive, or they're seeing these changes in their dog, then the reviews come easily
Mm-hmm.
because they speak for themselves. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's just a combination of being honest and authentic, and also providing a good product that deserves a 5-star review or 1,000.
Mm-hmm. So do you have like any specific success story that really, it's like memorable to you?
Honestly, there's so many, and
Yeah.
I feel really lucky because it's harder these days because I have so many customers, but I call them my customer friends, and I've
Hmm.
got a folder in my phone called Text from Customer Friends,
Wow. Uh-huh.
and it's full of text messages that my customers have sent me that are just like, my dogs are thriving on your food. They're so
Mm, mm.
excited for mealtime. They're
Yeah.
healthier, happier, their energy levels, and there's so
Wow.
many of them. So I feel really lucky. I've got so many in my mind. Yeah, customer friends that I know their dogs and I know
Mm-hmm.
them, and yeah, it's actually I feel really lucky for that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's like, and that's the beauty of like having your own business, right? I don't think
Mm.
a big brand really knows like, okay, this specific person bought from us from that date, and that's like
Yeah,
that's the name of
exactly.
their dog, and this is what they're doing, right?
Exactly. And I
Uh,
think small businesses, that's their superpower, and they should like use it.
Personalization, yeah.
I don't know all my customers by name,
Hmm.
but many that have been ordering from me from the beginning, when my delivery run sheet had like 5 orders on it and it was me dropping it off to the door,
Yeah.
it's different now, but though I still have their names and numbers saved in my phone, and I still talk to them, and over the
Mm.
years, I've cried with them when they've lost that dog, or they've cried with me when I lost my dog. So, yeah, being small is powerful in that
Yeah.
way.
Mm.
I say to people like, "Do you know who makes your dog's food?"
Yeah.
Because you know me, and you know
Yeah.
that I wouldn't sell anything that was detrimental to a dog. So there's a
Hmm.
power in that.
Definitely, definitely. Talking more about the marketing and scaling up pet brand, like uh,
Mm,
building a great product is one thing, like, but marketing it efficiently is like a whole different challenge. Like, what do you think,
Yeah.
like, what marketing strategies have worked best for the Saltiest Dog in reaching more pet parents?
Oh, definitely social media,
Mm,
in
mm.
particular Instagram. I've really built my business through Instagram.
Wow. Mm,
But I think also just being really consistent with all the things, because it's hard because when you're small, you feel like you kind of, I was showing up on Instagram stories when I had 100 followers in the same way that I do today. And I also think it's in the follow-up, like you have to remain consistent. And like in the beginning, I was saying I'd have a delivery run sheet with 5 orders on it. I would follow up with all 5 of those customers and say, hey, we're delivering again to your area. Did you need anything? Or if not, do you have any feedback? So I think always staying consistent and engaged with your customers,
mm.
and doing the things that you feel like you're not getting anywhere. But if you are consistent with whatever it is you choose to do, whether that be Instagram or email marketing, you can kind of feel like you're not getting anywhere fast. But if you are consistent,
Consistent. Mm,
you're getting somewhere slowly, and then it compounds. I guess it's like compounding
mm,
interest. It
mhm,
compounds over time, and then all of a sudden you have thousands of followers and hundreds of customers. And
mm.
yeah,
Do you also like spend more time or like energy in doing like, influencer marketing and collaboration with someone, giving them feed?
absolutely. And in terms of Instagram being the main thing that's built my business, it's that the dog community on Instagram is
Mm,
huge.
mhm.
There's just as many dog accounts as there are human accounts, I think, these days.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And some of them
So
have like 2 million, 3 million followers, and they
yeah,
are,
it's crazy.
yeah, yeah.
Like petfluencing is a thing.
Uh,
So I think engaging with the dog community on Instagram
mm,
and finding people that relate to you, or that share the same values,
mm,
um, and harnessing that, you can help each other. I
mhm,
can provide your dog with a really healthy food, and they can show all their followers, look at this amazing food that I've got, and look how great my dog is doing on it. You know?
mhm,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. Um, Talking more about the logistics and the delivery, system. Uh, fresh pet food require careful handling, especially during transportation. Like, how does your delivery system ensure that like meals
Yeah.
stay fresh and safe for dogs across Australia?
Yeah, so a couple of different ways. Like we cold pack everything. So we use Eskies and ice packs, and I'm actually really lucky. I use all donated packaging. So I have a
Mm,
warehouse full of light and easy Eskies, and ice packs that people have donated. A lot of those are sort of single use and just get thrown away. But I get them off all kinds of different people and our customers. So we cold pack everything in an Esky with ice packs.
mm.
Our delivery van is refrigerated as well.
Wow.
So yeah, it's really just the cold packaging, keeping everything cool, and ice packs. And it's kind of amazing how in an esky packed tight, with ice packs, things will stay hard frozen for, I mean, we get it to people within a couple of days,
Mm-hmm.
but things will stay frozen for a long time. And obviously, if you're transporting it in a refrigerated vehicle, you're controlling that aspect as well.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
like with the Saltish dog success in Australia, like have you considered expanding internationally, or like is your focus currently on strengthening your presence within the country itself?
I have not thought about international at all.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
Australia is big enough for me, and it's
yeah.
been enough of a challenge just getting outside of Melbourne or outside of Victoria.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, yeah, if I can just service all of Australia, including, like refrigerated transport to Northern Territory, to Perth, they're so far away. It's still an ongoing challenge for me. So international is not on my radar at the moment,
Mhm.
unfortunately.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
One country at a time, and it's all Australia for me.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And like obviously like Australia is a big country, right?
It's a big
So,
country, so
mhm.
I think I've got a ways to go before I have even conquered Australia.
Yeah. Definitely. Uh, Also, like many pet brands struggle with logistic and shipping costs, especially for like
Mhm,
perishable goods. Like, what
mhm.
advice would you give to pet brands looking to optimize their shipping and fulfillment process?
Honestly, I would say it's a constant battle, and
Mm,
it's never done. Like that is something that I'm still working on improving every single day. And in my, the last 5 years, I've probably contacted, I reckon, thousands of different services.
mm,
And
mm,
I think the other thing would be is like once you find one and it's working, you don't necessarily just that's it now. There are so many options out there.
mm,
And
mm,
then, yeah, in terms of same day or refrigerated transport or yeah, I would say always keep looking
Keep
and keep
experimenting. Yeah.
improving. Yeah,
Mm,
because I've changed providers and all the time, and I've got a new same day that I'm going to start using because for whatever reason the other one wasn't suiting my business needs anymore. So I think you always have to be improving it, and you always have to be trying different options.
mm,
Because the first one you find might not be the best and things change. So even
mm,
if it was working a year ago, if your product offering has changed or your location has changed or whatever that might be, just I think always be on the lookout for different options,
mm,
and
mm,
always be trying to improve that because it's the most important thing is getting the products to your customers.
mm.
If a customer's order is delayed or it shows up and it's not packaged nicely or they don't know when it's coming,
Mm, mm,
that's that they might not order from you again. So I think it's the one thing that you have to always be striving to perfect, and you're never gonna be perfect in that things are always gonna go wrong.
yeah.
Um, it's something you can't. It's not a set and forget thing. It's a
Mm,
constant
constant
improvement.
struggle. Mm,
Yeah, yeah.
got it. Got it. Talking more about the science behind fresh feeding. Many pet
Mm,
parents are unaware of the hidden preservatives and like additives in commercial pet food. So what
yeah.
do they need to know about these ingredients and their impact on their dog's health?
Oh, preservatives are nasty. Honestly, they are nasty and they are not good in your body or in your dog's body.
Hmm.
And they're unnecessary. So yeah, I mean, when I go to the supermarket, I can't help myself. If I'm at the supermarket, I'll pick up dog treats and I'll look at the ingredients and I'll take a little video and I'll put it on social media and be like, check the ingredients and look for these. And so I think just knowing if preservatives are there, why are they there? There are options without preservatives. So I would always say read the ingredients label always and know what's in your dog's food. Don't just trust that because they have an ad that's
Yeah.
this emotive ad that's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
we love dogs. Do you think that that massive
Yeah. Yeah.
corporation
Yeah.
cares
Yeah.
about your dog?
Uh,
No, they don't. They care about their
there's a
profits.
beautiful
So
video of a dog running and it's like in slow
yeah,
motion and there's a beautiful family around it.
yeah, and they're like, we just love dogs, and it's not true.
Yeah, yeah. Recently, my sister bought a treat for my dog. It was like a chicken treat, and she just bought it. Like the packaging looks great, like from
Hmm.
into like 100% chicken, and I checked the ingredient. It literally had nothing related to chicken. It had like
Yeah,
glycerine,
yeah,
I don't know,
yeah,
like fillers, and
yeah,
literally nothing related to chicken, and that's
yeah,
how they are lying like in the marketing.
yeah.
The packaging looks
I
great. Hmm.
Yeah, I always say beware of the words like with or, because it might say with beef or with chicken. And then you turn the ingredients around, and if it says or, so it's like poultry or beef or lamb or this, and that means it's basically whatever they could get their hands on.
Yeah.
They're not even actually able to say this has beef because we use beef. They're saying or. And so if it's with or,
Hmm.
there's some red flags. And then if there's preservatives, if there's humectants, if there's palatants, like a
Hmm.
palatant is
Hmm.
literally something they add to food to make it palatable. So they're making, like they're spraying stuff on it that makes it
Yeah.
yummy to dogs. So a dog wants to eat it. So people are like, oh, my dog loves that. I'm like, they love the palatant that they've sprayed on it to make your dog recognize it as food because without that, they probably wouldn't. So if you think about that, that's crazy. If they've got to spray palatant on something for a dog to eat it, what is it made of? And, red flags.
Crazy, crazy. But yeah, I mean, like, thankfully, like
pet nutrition industry is evolving rapidly, and like with new research and innovation emerging every single year.
Mm.
What future innovation in pet nutrition excite you the most?
Honestly, what excites me the most is just the shift that we're seeing towards fresh feeding.
Mm-hmm.
It's like witnessing the slow realization that processed foods and kibble is not the only way to feed dogs. So I think in that, so many more things will become available. And the other thing that really excites me is I'm obsessed with like recycling, reusing, and utilizing waste. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think the beauty of, the human meat industry or for human consumption, so much is wasted that is not just okay for dogs to eat, it's good for dogs. So if we can increase the amount that we're utilizing all that stuff that would usually be wasted in dog food, because dogs can and should eat meat, offal, bone, etc., then that's awesome. Reducing waste is what excites me the most. Yeah,
Definitely,
which is
definitely.
kind of a lame thing to be excited about, but
No, like everyone has their own own thing, right?
yeah.
Mhm. Um, Also, like many aspiring pet brand founders listen to this podcast, hoping to learn from like industry leader like yourself. So like what do you think like one piece of advice you would give to someone who is looking forward to get into the pet industry or want to start their own pet brand?
To be honest, I would recommend doing some market research first. As you were saying, it's a highly competitive industry, and I would go so far as saying it's a little bit oversaturated in some areas. Like
Hmm.
there are a lot of pet treat
Yeah,
brands
yeah, yeah, yeah.
now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think have something unique to offer.
Yeah.
Um, and test the waters first
Mm-hmm.
before sort of going all in.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my advice, is to make sure that there's a need for what you have, and have something unique to offer the space.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And if you could go back to like when you started the Saltiest Dog for the first time, like knowing what you know now, what do you think, like what would you do differently at that time?
Well, to be honest, I wouldn't have restarted my business when my twins were 6 months old. That
Uh-huh.
was
Wow.
that was a big mistake. Um, and I guess what also happened, which, outside of anybody's control, it was COVID, the beginnings of COVID as well. So in terms of when I restarted the business in 2020, it was a crazy time. It was
Crazy.
a
Yeah.
very stressful
Uh-huh.
time. So I definitely wouldn't have done that. Yeah, I think being a small business owner and a new parent in the midst of a global pandemic is
Hmm.
a challenge I wouldn't recommend for anybody.
Definitely, definitely.
But
Finally, as we like look into the future, like what's next for the Saltiest Log? Are there like new exciting products line, expansion, or like plans on the horizon?
oh gosh, yes, I have a million ideas, notes in my phone of I think of things and I add little notes in my
Uh-huh.
phone. So there'll definitely be new products. I just like making up new meals and utilizing different ingredients that that make it easier for pet parents to fresh feed. If you don't have to go and do all the prep yourself and make sure your pet's getting a variety of foods, I'll do it for you. I want
Mhm.
to include ingredients that aren't seen in other pet foods, and just keep having a unique offering that makes fresh feeding accessible and easy for pet parents.
Mhm.
So yeah, and we're expanding our wholesale,
Mhm.
so getting our meals into lots of other pet food or dog shops
Mhm.
around Australia, and just, yeah, growing in that way. Just, yeah.
Mhm. Love it, love it. Guys, that brings us to the end of today's episode. Kate, thank you so much for joining us on Pet Brand Podcast.
Thank you. It's been so fun. Thanks for having me. It's
Love
been
it,
good to
love it.
chat.
It's been an absolute pleasure learning about your journey with the Saltiest Dog, the importance of fresh feeding, and the incredible work you're doing to provide high quality, ethically sourced meals and treats for pets. For anyone who wants to learn more about the Saltiest Dog or try their amazing products, what's the you can I will leave all the links in the description below. And to all our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow pet lovers and entrepreneurs. It really helps us to bring more amazing guests like Kate on the show. And yeah, that's it. That's the end of the podcast.